The President, please be seated. The court is now back in session. I hand over to the prosecution to present the documents relevant to the Democratic Cambodia in accordance with the request by the prosecution this morning that he would conclude this presentation in 30 minutes. You may now proceed.
May it please you, Mr. President, Your Honours. The next few documents deal with communications between sectors to zones. I contrast that for one moment with the documents the court was dealing with just before the luncheon break. And those were documents where the sector had passed information to the zone and the zone had then passed that on upwards. I'm now dealing with straightforward sector to zone communication. And the first document is E3/1019. This is a report dated the 20th of February 1976. The report is from Sector 23 to the Standing Committee of the East Zone. If we relay that information through to the maps, we can see the East Zone shown on the map. We can see Sector 23 in the Svay Rieng area, bordering on Vietnam. And this report from the sector states in the second paragraph of the actual report, and I quote, "We," so that's we, Sector 23, "have received a report from the Chantrea District Committee about an incident on the 16th of February 1976. The report then says, towards the bottom, "May the Zone Standing Committee kindly be advised of the information reported above." So there we have a sector receiving a report from a district beneath it and then passing that information up to the zone, in this case the East Zone. The next document under this generic heading is document E3/1120. It's to do with the Northwest Zone, so again referring to the maps. Northwest Zone shown on the map, and Sector 5 shown north of Battambang. And the document is a telegram. It is from Sector 5, and it's to Brother Nim, so Ross Nim, the Northwest Zone Secretary. The telegram speaks of the enemy situation in Sector 5. And then halfway down the page, there is an extract in these terms, and I quote, "The sectors have each taken measures with regard to such problems, firstly going all out to find more enemy apparatuses, secondly going all out to propagandize and re-educate people so they will understand with additional clarity about the socialist revolution. And thirdly, the grassroots and the military must cooperate closely to smash all kinds of enemies." Next, I'm moving on to a different heading now, and this is going further down towards the bottom of the administrative organisations in democratic Kampuchea, namely communications between the commune, the district, and on some occasions the sector, but principally communications between the commune and the district. And the first document in this collection is IS 18.52. Khmer ERN for this is 000-79106, French 00712-134, and English 00276574. This is a communication from a cooperative to the district. So the cooperative concerned was the Trapeang Tom Kang Chung sub-district cooperative. And the cooperative is passing information to beloved and respected Angkar at Tramkat district. So a communication cooperative to district. And the communication talks about a group of youths who had been meeting together in secret at midnight. And then it stated the sub-district militia unit arrested them and brought them in for interrogation. They refused to respond. All of them remained silent. Now they have been sent in. Request Angkar accept this as information. Next, document IS 18.44. This is a report from a sub-district to a district. I note that there is no French ERN for this document. The English ERN is 00276590 and the Khmer 000822729, moving into 730. It's a fairly simplistic communication, though. It is to the Tramkak district base from the Gbok Trabek sub-district. The substance of the communication is about 10 new people, military, who came in from Phnom Penh. The date is the 3rd of June 1977. And in respect of these 10 people, the sub-district says at the bottom of this communication or report, therefore request to hand all 10 of them over for whatever Ankara decides. Next, on this same theme, document D157.47. This is a report from a commune to a district, with instructions then coming back from the district to the commune. And the report is headed, "Respectfully reported to the beloved and respective Ankara of the district." And in it, the commune says, in relation to some people, and I don't need to cover the details, it's in fact a person who's a new person. The commune says at the bottom, "I beg the Ankara," in other words, the district Ankara, "I beg the Ankara to please be informed of this above person's issues." And then at the bottom of the report, we have an endorsement by the district secretary. So the district secretary in Trum Kok district was a man by the name of Kit. And here Kit, the district secretary, endorses the report from the commune with the words, and I quote, "It is accepted that this person, named Mu Pon, be arrested." Date is given. So that shows the communication from the commune to the district, with the district giving instructions back to the commune. Next, please, document D157.95. This is a report from a district to a district security office following a decision of the district Ankara. It is dated the 14th of December 1977. The report states at the top, "I would like to report to the brother representative of Trum Kuk District Educational Office." And then we find out what's happened. In the next line, "As the district's Ankara has decided that we arrest and send 2 people to the district educational office." The 2 people are then named. And at the bottom of the communication, "Accordingly, please, comrade brother, accept them." So that's showing the interaction between the Ankara at district level, the district security office. Next document, IS 18.26. This is a report from a commune to a district security office. We can see at the bottom of the communication that the report is from Ong Tassom commune, and it's addressed to the district security office, to Comrade Educational Office of Trum Kuk. Then the content of the communication, "From the base, I would like to send over a person named Pio Chol, new person." So to summarise, the commune sending a new person to the district security office. I'd like next to deal with other forms of communication. And that title is intended to cover forms of communication in democratic Kampuchea, other than telegrams, speeches, standing committee minutes, and matters of that like. And the first document under this heading is D232/78.2. It's simply a letter. It's a letter dated the 1st of August 1977. It's a letter from Anne to Buon, and it's ordering the arrest of two enemies who have been named in confessions of persons arrested previously. We can see in the letter, "Dear Comrade Buon, we would like to make a request to you to assemble a militia squad to arrest two enemies located in Srei Kro village," and they're then named. Both of them have planned to escape to Vietnam. They were named in the confessions of In and Tan, who had been arrested previously. So letter as opposed to telegram. Next, document number E3/859. This is a document dated the 15th of April 1978. The persons to whom the communication was copied to are shown at the bottom of the document. The document itself is headed Confidential Phone Conversation, dated April the 15th, 1978. It's then headed Respected and Beloved Grand Uncle. And it's dealing with events in the East Zone, and in particular Sector 24, but showing confidential telephone conversations. On that same theme of confidential telephone conversations, the next document is E3/1082. This is a document dated the 12th of August 1977. It is a document from Mut, Comrade Mut, and the document is headed Report dated 12th August 1977 via secret telephone. There is a handwritten annotation at the end of the first paragraph of this report. The annotation at the end of the first paragraph says, based on telephone communications with Comrade Mut, there was only a raft. That's in relation to a fishing incident. And then there's a handwritten annotation in the left-hand margin, which says, to Ankar, we asked to find inside networks. Secondly, find the entry and exit. And thirdly, traitorous elements along the border. And that's signed Q and dated the 13th of August. Finally, Mr. President, I'm moving on to some broadcasted confessions. And for these purposes, the first document is E3/1289. This is a document which I need to give the ERNs. The Khmer page is 00224-163, French 0032-4920, and English 00169190. And this page deals with confessions. And in this particular page, a confession that was broadcasted on the Phnom Penh domestic services in Cambodia at 11 o'clock at night on the 1st of February 1978. And what was being broadcasted was the 29th of January confession by Mao Chin, a Cambodian national serving as a Vietnamese agent. And finally on this theme, document E3/1362, Khmer ERN 007-01-795, French 007-01785, and English ERN 00169986. This is a page dealing with the confessions of captured Vietnamese soldiers. It was broadcasted on the Phnom Penh domestic service in Cambodia at 11 o'clock at night on the 25th of April 1978. And what was being reported was a 15th of April confession of a Vietnamese soldier, Vu Khu Sok, who'd been captured on the 7th of April. Mr. President, Your Honours, can I conclude just with these comments? The purpose of this document's presentation on communication has obviously been to show the methods of communication at the upper echelons, the communications between the upper echelons and the zones and the sectors and the districts and the communes, the district security offices, and the other methods of communication that were used. Mr. President, that concludes the presentation from me. Thank you very much.
The President, thank you. Next, the trial chamber will give the floor to the co-lead lawyer for civil parties to make presentation. But please hold on, counsel. We should wait and hear the comment by National Counsel for Mr. Eng Suri. Now you may proceed, counsel. Thank you, Mr. President, Your Honors. Good afternoon, prosecutors, all parties to the case. It's my apologies that I need to make this request. Before giving the floor to the civil party lawyers to make presentation, I have a notice to the trial chamber, and my request to the trial chamber, it relates to the presentation of documents by the international lead co-lawyers today. And I would like to inform the trial chamber also that the presentation to be given by the international lead co-lawyers based on her list on the sent to the parties on the 11th of October 2012 at 12 o'clock and 35 p.m. contained witness statements by witnesses. Mr. Engsuri was not afforded the opportunity to confront that go to the acts and conduct of the accused. I would like to refer to the trial chamber senior legal officer's email on the 10th of October 2012 at 2:08 p.m., which responded to the letter sent by the Engsuri Defense Counsels the same day. The email said, "The chamber wishes to remind the lead co-lawyers that in accordance with this decision, the decision number E96/7, written statements presented in lieu of oral testimony are not admissible if they go to the acts and conducts of the accused." And the trial chamber senior legal officers confirmed that the parties are encouraged to utilize the time allocated to them for the documents hearings to the presentation of those documents which the chamber is able to give probative value and weight. I request that the trial chamber not allow the international lead co-lawyer to present the documents listed from number 5 to number 15 on their list sent on the 11th of October 2012 at 12:35 p.m. because, as I addressed the court earlier, if doing otherwise, it may affect the possibility that I mentioned earlier to the trial chamber. Even though this hearing is not a hearing of evidence to hear evidence in nature of inculpatory or exculpatory evidence, and there may be the confrontation letter, and it may be the victims or the witness may be confused. So I would like to request that Mr. President not allow the co-lead lawyer to use the document as I requested earlier. The President, the lead co-lawyer, if you have any arguments in responding to the Defense Counsel for Engsuri, you may proceed.
Oui, Monsieur le Président.
Yes, Mr. President, I of course would like to respond. The first submission I'd like to make is that there is no record of a witness statement on my list. We have civil party applications and records of civil party interviews. They do not include the 10 documents referred to. May I also add that Young Surrey's Defense Counsel refers to last week's letter, which was drafted after an initial list, which was a lot longer. That list was drawn up by the civil party. At the time, it was Mr. Pikang alone. And there were a number of records on that list. Mr. Young Surrey's list arrived subsequently, and Mr. Pick completely amended that list. Today, I also have a list which arrived belatedly, which does not contain 15 documents, but only 13. And these documents do not include any documents that go to the act and conduct of any of the accused, as we understood in your decision 96.7 and paragraph 21 of your decision, which specifies that when we are talking of the act and conduct of the accused, we are talking of personal participation. So, in my documents, we do not have any document dealing with the personal acts and conduct of any of the accused. There are interviews, there are transcripts of radio broadcasts, there are civil party applications by 2 civil parties that do not at all go to the acts and conducts of the accused. And essentially, we have annexes to these civil party applications, which are objective documents, lists of persons, as the list produced by the prosecutor, newspaper articles, and so on and so forth. These articles do not go to the act and conduct of the accused. There are 2 documents which could eventually pose a problem to your chamber, and these are the records of the interviews of the 2 civil parties I refer to. These are documents D368/2 and document D199/14. From my standpoint, these records of interviews do not at all go to the conduct of the accused, but if your chamber would prefer that I withdraw these documents to avoid any discussions on that, I could do that. But I would like to insist on the fact that the other documents do not go to the act and conduct of the accused. May I add, for purposes of conclusion, that if a party is of the view that a document goes to the act and conduct of an accused person and produces evidence in support of that, I believe that Young Surrey's defense will be hard put to it to establish that the documents on my list go to the act and conduct of the accused. With the exception, I do admit, of a discussion on the 2 records of witness interviews. I have no further submissions on the subject. Thank you.
President, International Defense Counsel for Nuon Chea, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon, everyone. This is perhaps related to the application I made this morning with respect to the weight to be afforded to any comments by an accused, and it's also, I would say, tangentially related to the topic on the floor for debate. Now, what is the evidentiary value of civil party statements before this chamber, if any?
Monsieur le Président, je suis
Mr. President, I am shocked that at this stage in the proceedings, we are still questioning the probative value of civil party testimonies. I think it is up to the chamber to assess the probative value of these statements. I must say that I find what Councillor said so unpleasant and lacking in respect. To hear Councillor say that they do not have any probative value, we are going to call a number of civil parties to give testimony, and the probative value of those testimonies will be accepted by the Chamber in due course. Thank you.
The President, do you have anything to address to the court?
Your Honor, I do, Your Honor. I would just like to reply very briefly to that. I did not say that civil party statements have no evidentiary value. I would never say that. That's not what I said. I asked the Chamber, what is the evidentiary value of civil party statements, especially those civil parties that don't come into court. And let me just clarify for a moment. The Chamber has been happy, or has been willing, I should say, I retract the word happy, has been willing to give us certain elucidation with respect to the probative value and the weight that will or perhaps may be attached to any comments made by an accused. So the Chamber has been willing to go into that on a detailed basis, and I would just cite to the transcript reference I referred to this morning. So just very clearly for the record, I did not say that civil party statements have no evidentiary value. I would never say that again. I would simply like to know what kind of standard this Chamber, this court, your court, is going to apply to those statements. Thank you. And I renew my request from this morning. Thank you.
The President, Counsel for Mr. Evidentiary, Ang Adam, the lead co-lawyer for civil party, so there will be only 13 and D194 and D363. The document that I mentioned from number 5 to number 15, it relates to the two witnesses. So we cannot remove only the two documents and keep the same document as they are. So as I told Your Honor earlier, we cannot challenge the witnesses if we remove, as requested by our teams, from number 5 and number 15, and we request that the co-lead lawyers do not need to read those documents.
Oui, merci, Monsieur le Président. J'aimerais.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. I want to be sure that we are talking of the same list of documents that will be presented. I am not absolutely sure of that. Is Defense Counsel for Ian Surrey in a position to tell us the list he is referring to? Is he talking of the last list that was presented by the civil party lead co-lawyers or not? What are the exact documents that the Defense Counsel is challenging? And we should bear in mind that all records of witness statements have been withdrawn from the initial list.
Counsel Ang Adam, I would like to address again to the court the documents proposed by the lead co-lawyers dated 11th of October, including 15 documents. I did not receive any new list of documents, so it mentioned only 12 documents. It is the list attached to the email dated 11 October by the co-lead lawyers. Thank you.
perhaps I could provide some clarification. I just now, in my
The President, call it lawyers for the civil party. You may proceed.
Oui.
Yes, I will try to clarify the situation somewhat. May I already crave the court's indulgence for this situation, because we actually sent a number of lists successively, and this coupled with the long delays that some of us witnessed posed a problem. You had an initial list prepared by Mr. Pick. That list included records of witness interviews. Following the letter sent by Mr. Ieng Seri, and for other reasons, that list was amended and resubmitted, as was the case with the list of documents presented by national co-lawyers. As far as I'm concerned, I presented rather belatedly a list of documents. Initially, I sent a list of 15 documents on the 11th of October, and since then, I have withdrawn 2 of the documents, and I subsequently sent a list of 13 documents. That list may be missing. I have just referred to that list. And that list of 13 documents doesn't contain any records or witness testimonies or statements. If those 2 documents, 2 of the documents may pose a problem, and I may request the chamber to withdraw it. But the list prepared by Mr. Pick remains, and it is the first list I will talk about this afternoon. That list does not contain any records.
President, Council, you may proceed, and you may address specific requests so that the trial chamber can consider the matter and make decision. So if you are not addressing specific requests, if you make clear, it may be easy for us to make decision based on our previous rulings. Council Angadong, I have some difficulty. The co-lead lawyers for civil party said, I have just received dated today at 2 and 12 p.m. today. It is a very recent request. Talking about removing of documents sent at 2 o'clock today, this 368/2, it is the same. It is the record of witness, a record of civil party interview, and the 199/14 stay the same. I would like to emphasize that these 2 witnesses are related clearly to the case of Ieng Seri. And as Mr. Ieng Seri has no opportunity to challenge, how can we put this before the chamber? I would not like to address the name of the witness because it is remain confidential in the court. Thank you. Judge Lavange, you can proceed.
Well, can Ieng Seri's defense tell us whether those are the only 2 documents they are challenging, that is D338, D22 and 289 and D368/2? Are these the only 2 documents that they are challenging? And if there are other documents, for what reason are they challenging them?
Council Angadam, Mr. President, Your Honors, we object not only these two documents. The two persons here are civil parties, and other documents related to these two witnesses. If I refer to the earlier list, including 15 documents, and the new list is containing 12 documents. I would like to request that the lead co-lawyer not present or read the document from number 5 to number 15 in the earlier list. As for the new list, I'm not sure to make any request now. Thank you. Council, you may proceed.
Mr. President, it doesn't suffice to say that we do not want documents. You have to explain why you do not want the document, and the only justification would be to establish that the documents I'm presenting go to the act and the conduct of the accused. Now, apart from the two records of interviews, there are no other documents that go to the act and conduct of the accused. During the last hearing on documents, you authorized us, and we are very happy with that, to present statements by several parties, and that is what I intend to do today. These statements do not contain any accusations regarding the act and conduct of the accused, nor do the annexes go to the act and conduct of the accused. I suggest that we shouldn't waste the court's time any further. May I suggest that insofar as a document goes to the act and conduct of the accused, Counsel for Ian Sari could rise to his feet and challenge the presentation of the document and say why they do not want the document, referring to the contents of the documents.
The President, Council, do you have anything to address the court? If you have new issues to address to the court, so we give you the last chance to address a new request. Otherwise, we keep exchanging your address to the court and also to the party. Council Angadam, it's my apology, Mr. President, because we have many documents sending back and forth, so I need some time to work on this. My choice now is that so they can wait until they read a document and they can make an objection. So let me read the document that fall on my request. D22/289. Number 4, D368/2. And another document is D22/289.21, and another document D22/289.11, another document is D22/289/14, D22/44, D199/14, D22/44.11 and number 11 D22/44.13. Thank you.
The President, Mr. Prosecutor, you may proceed.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will be very brief. We have just observed that apart from the two documents, which are records of civil party statements, we do not see why the other 11 documents cannot be presented during this hearing on documents. They will have to wait for each document to be presented, and then they can object to each individual document. This is not the time to object to all these documents. We do not want a situation in which at every turn they are rising on their feet to challenge documents. If they do not proffer any reasonable and objective reasons as to why these documents should not be admitted, then they shouldn't object to them. Thank you, Mr. President.
The President, the international co-lawyer for Mr. Kyew Sampon, do you have any other issue to raise? Because we are now deviating from the advice by the chamber, because we have spent considerable time to discuss this topic, and we have given floors to all parties. But then if you keep discussing back and forth on this, we may not be able to use to make a good use of the court time. And you may proceed, but please be very brief.
Très bref, Monsieur le Président.
Very briefly, Mr. President, may I remind the co-prosecutor that we received the last list of civil parties only 3 minutes ago. So to repeat that the defense is not capable is not the point here. The question is whether the civil parties are able to send their list in time to enable us to work. That is a question that should have been raised. That list was given to us at 2:15 p.m. And we received the last document at 2:12, Mr. President.
The President, I hand over to Judge Jean-Marc Lavange. You may proceed, Judge.
The Chamber received a list from the civil party lead co-lawyers of the 15 documents. This list was received on the 11th of October, if I'm not mistaken. I understand that the parties have just received this list at 2 p.m. In fact, that list is a new list of 13 documents. Obviously, we have not had the opportunity to go through in detail all of those documents and ascertain as to whether or not the list of 13 documents overlaps with the 15 documents, or if the most recent list contains new or supplementary documents. If this is the case, we would kindly inform the civil party lead co-lawyers to provide sufficient notification to the Chamber and to all parties. Counsel Simoneau-Faure, Your Honor, you are entirely right. Everybody has the duty to provide sufficient notice. These 13 documents are in fact the same documents of the 15-document list, minus 2 documents that we have withdrawn. I hope that is clear. Judge Laverne, so with respect to the most latest 13-document list, you have withdrawn 2 documents, which are indeed the written record of witness interviews of the civil parties. Counsel, yes. If the Chamber believes that those PVs do speak to the acts and conduct of the accused, then we would respectfully withdraw the written record of witness interviews that were produced by the co-investigating judges. Thank you.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. President,
Madame.
Juste pour illustrer la difficulté.
just to convey the difficulty that we are experiencing, there is one documentary exhibit that appears on the most recent list that we were conveyed at 2:12 p.m., and it is a document that does not figure on the list of the 11th of October. I'm referring to document 12, which is a book. And I do not see this publication figure on the list of the 11th of October. It carries the document number E3/1713, Counsel Simoneau-Faure. I am not requesting the admission of a book. I am producing D22/289.17. This is an annexed, a list of Khmers living abroad. And once again, I would specify that I am seeking the admission of D22/289.17.
The President, I hand over to Judge Jean-Marc Lavange.
Oui, merci.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The trial chamber shall refer to the list that was notified to the parties on the 11th of October. This is the only list that was truly notified in due course to all parties. Nevertheless, of that list, we shall withdraw the 2 documents that no longer appear on the second list. Therefore, we are dealing with only a total of 13 documents. We will also, in the interest of time, withdraw the 2 written records of witness interviews belonging to the civil parties. I would draw the attention of the civil parties to the fact that we have used up a substantial amount of time, and if the civil parties had notified the final and definitive version of the list that it intends to submit before this chamber, we would not have been confronted with this situation. As such a debate is not in the interest of the good administration of justice. Thank you.
The President, the time is now appropriate for an adjournment. The chamber will adjourn for 20 minutes and we will resume at 3. The court is now adjourned.